Hello, everyone. It is today is February 25th. I got to double check and make sure. I did not see you last week because I had another obligation, but I was able to watch New Path Live. And didn't James Shannon do a great job? I'll tell you what, it is not easy sometimes well, it's never really easy to be the one that has to be in charge of these broadcasts. I've got used to it since we've been doing it now a year, if you can believe that, or nearly a year anyway. But James has something special when it comes to just being able to sit still and listen to the other person talk. It's a lot harder than what it looks. Um, of course, Elder Soares and Doreen Mumper were just such great guests as well, and I was excited hearing about Back to Better, just listening to them talk, and I heard things, new things that I hadn't really given a lot of thought to. So we are, as my mother would say, cooking with gas. Um, we're on fire. But before and a little later, we're going to have Dan Lanning join us to talk about some things related to the vaccine. But before we do that, I feel that we need to acknowledge a couple of things that are going on right now with the vaccine. Of course, most of you probably know that Monday night, President Biden held a candlelight vigil to mark a terrible mile marker. We are now over 500,000 U.S. lives lost, and that is astonishing considering that 1 year ago, I think we just had even, I don't know, it was two people that had died from it. So, as a matter of fact, in the U.S. now, we're now up to over 504,000 dead, and in Massachusetts, we are at 15,883. Of course, NuPath has not been spared in this past terrible, very horrible, no good, very bad year. Um, and we've weathered a storm, guys. We have all, and when I say all, I mean people watching this, families, clients served, other members, board members. It's been a it's been a tough year. And it's no wonder that many of us are feeling this kind of fatigue. Thank God the vaccine came. But we were not spared our own losses in our family. We know all kinds of people that are part of the NuPath family that have gotten COVID, for sure. But we have, in just the past few weeks, we lost three people. They're not all from COVID, but still, it happens at a very terrible time for us. Elaine George of Salem Street has passed away. Jane Goldberg, also from Salem Street, and Eddie Rodriguez, who many of you may remember from our 2018 annual celebration, so young and no longer with us. And of course, we will never forget the others that passed before these three, seven more people that have died in the past 12 months. And I'm just trying to think of a year ever that we lost so many people in 1 year. I mean, maybe one a year, a couple a year, maybe. I don't have the exact statistics on it, but to lose 10 and it's not even been a full year yet, it's just shocking. And our thoughts and prayers go out to their families, who I'm sure are still missing them. Their loss will be felt for many years to come, and we send them our heartfelt condolences and love at this difficult time. Um, so 2 weeks ago, when I was last on, we talked about. You guys remember this? Job from the Old Testament of the Bible. Poor guy, poor scabby Job. But verse 11 in Job says, "Having hope will give you courage," or something to that effect. And I was thinking about that over this past week and why it is that hope can provide the courage, and thinking about what kinds of things we have or I have. This yesterday morning I walked out and look what I saw right next to my patio. and it's a sunny, bright spot. It's still kind of early for the croci to come up, but that made me very happy, and that gave me hope and courage that we're almost through this winter. What else can we feel some element of hope about? Well, Red Sox spring training has begun. And in fact, the pitchers and catchers were called out last Thursday. The full squad began their workout this past Monday, and the spring training opening game is on Sunday. Can you believe it? That's something that is hopeful. What else? It's a great time of year. Did you feel it? Just days are getting longer. Well, speaking of days getting longer, 17 days from now will be Sunday, March 14th. Mark it on your calendars. That is when daylight savings time begins. 17 days. And we're no longer going to have to go home at 4:30 with the dark. And finally, the big one, 22 days. 22 days from today, guys. It's Hello Spring and the spring equinox. So we can get through 22 days. Plus, most importantly, the vaccine. The vaccine. Now, how are we doing with the vaccine as an organization? The skies surely feel brighter, but according to our data, 44% of our staff who were eligible have received the first vaccine in the 2 vaccine series, and only 34% have received both vaccines. So we've got a little work to do. We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes when we bring Dan on, how we are going to try to continue to encourage staff that have not gotten it yet to consider receiving it. These clinics could not have happened. We've had 4 now, and they all went extremely well, extremely smoothly. Matt Johnson, who was just a real rock star, and this list of people here that you see, so many who volunteered their time and were there to make sure that things moved smoothly and that people were able to get in and get out. Now, I happen to be one of those people that didn't get the second vaccine because in between my first one, I got a cut on my hand and I had to get a tetanus shot, and I got there for my second vaccine and they told me I had to wait. So I was bummed out. But there's still so many people out there that haven't gotten it. And we want to see if we can't change your mind and help you reconsider. I mean, if you listen to the news, people are going nuts trying to get it. And we have a chance. We're offering it when so many other people are being forced to wait. And I've said it before, I see it as a huge privilege. So you heard from James and his guests about Back to Better. Such an exciting prospect to be thinking about getting people back to day programs, back to their regular schedules, and all the while that we've been struggling and dealing with this terrible COVID-19 pandemic, our teams have continued to work, and you've heard some of the examples of how technology that's been introduced, virtual programming and so on, have it really created a whole new kind of set of offerings for folks. And we are looking forward to getting people back and to introducing some of these new ideas. First, we want to increase the number of our vaccinated staff. So if you are one of the people that have not gotten it, you can expect to get some encouragement. Also, we're looking at creating a calendar that we hope to have published soon of some fun, interesting social opportunities that, as some of the restrictions are relaxed, as the capacity is increased for the number of people we can have in buildings, as the weather continues to warm up and we can get tents both here, and they tell me that there's going to be one in Westford, that we can begin to do maybe some cookouts, things like that. You know, a lot of people have been stuck at home for the better part of a year, and even those of us who are back several days a week or most days a week, it's different than it was before, because there's not nearly as many people here, and I think people are rightly going to require a period of adjustment. we're creatures of habit. We get used to things. We get used to the rhythms and what we're comfortable with. And I'm sure there's many staff out there, especially those that have had the privilege or the luxury of working from home virtually. There's many reasons why people could enumerate to me that they should be able to continue to work remotely. And as things stand right now, we are really looking at the path forward, back to better, getting people back into the physical space just as soon as we believe it's safe, as soon as the guidance is provided that we allows us to do so, and we promise we're going to try to create an easy way to kind of gently ease back in. That's for everybody because I know it's going to be an adjustment. Continuing to explore and implement some of the exciting new day program options that we're talking about, and all through this, continuing to increase and improve the access to technology. And we'll talk more about this at another time. But I believe it's the human right for the 21st century, access to technology, and we're going to continue to provide an example for other organizations to emulate when it comes to having the equipment and the software and the programs that we need to create maximum level of independence and accessibility and transparency for families and other stakeholders. So it's an exciting time. When I think about where we were just about 11 and a half months ago, when we just began doing some of these virtual things, and it was still pretty nerve-wracking because we were trying to figure it out, and not knowing like when the vaccine was going to come. It was really bleak, and it was a tough financial year. Fortunately, we were able to avail ourselves of some of the key things. We've talked about that all before in the past, but until we get people back to a higher level of attendance, we're going to be struggling. And so this first couple of quarters of this year are going to be important, and much will be determined by how quickly we're able to encourage folks to return. So with that said, I'm interested in to bring Dan Lannon on board. Of course, you all know Dan Lannon. He's sort of the mastermind behind so much of how we have responded and adapted and managed life in the age of COVID-19. Dan oversees all of our operations. Dan, are you there? Dan was here a moment ago. There he is.
Had some technical difficulties on the last second, so I apologize. But I am here.
I'm having maybe. Are you close to your mic? Yeah, I was just having a little bit of a hard time hearing you, but maybe I have to turn my speaker up. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing well. I think listening to your update, I think you did a great update, and it's funny. It is exciting. It is exciting times. I think it was great. There was such great energy in the first two vaccination clinics that were over at the Martin Center, and I just think people were just so anxious to get back to some type of normalcy, and so it was really good to feel all that energy last Friday. So just want to continue with that momentum.
And saw so many people that we had seen for weeks or months. You told me that, and I maybe shouldn't call him out, but our Duffy said that he watches these NuPath lives on a regular basis. You told me, were you telling me that, or somebody else said that? And he was like, back to better. He knew the campaign slogan. So Art Duffy, we love you. If you're out there, I hope you're watching. Appreciate you staying connected with NuPath. What's going on, Dan? Are you satisfied with 44% staff vaccinated?
Well, am I satisfied? No, I certainly would love to see those numbers be higher. I think that people are still educating themselves on it and seeing. I know a lot of feedback we heard were, that people didn't want to be part of the first round, or they wanted to wait and see, or they were going to just talk to their primary cares and doctors. And so we're hoping people are doing that right now, and getting the information that they need, as well as just listening to some of the the positive data that's out there about people who've received the vaccine. We also know that some of the guidelines that we're all held to right now are still guidelines pre-vaccination, and we know that some of those are changing. Almost, I don't want to say weekly, but there's expected to be some changes coming up that is going to really make it so that the people that have received the vaccine will be able to get back to a little more normalcy quicker than those who did not receive the vaccine. So I don't know what that looks like, and I just think people have to do what they feel comfortable with. But for me, myself, I'm pretty amped up that I received both vaccinations, and want to just continue the momentum to get back to better. I know that also the tricky part is as we try to nail this down, many staff that we have work for additional agencies besides us. We're not their only employer. So if they got the vaccination through their other employee, we are not counting them as getting the vaccination until we have that proof. And so some of them are, in the process of getting us that information. And so I would just encourage all the staff or anyone who received their vaccination from their other job or another location to just get us that information so we can add it to your personnel file. So part of me thinks that number's a little bit higher. Probably not significantly higher, but I think we'll see some movement in the next couple of weeks of some more people being more open to go ahead and get the vaccination.
Dan, so what is the plan for those people? Let's say they have been, doing this research or whatever, waiting to see whether or not, you kick the bucket. They're going to watch you because they know you got both. Yeah. So now they said, you know what? I haven't known anybody that's gotten sick from it. It seems to be okay. Is it too late for them? What are they going to do?
No, so we will have a definitive answer next week. We have a couple of things we're working through right now. Walgreens has agreed to do the third vaccination on the 12th, but then for the next vaccinate, so you could receive your first vaccination on the 12th through Walgreens, but then you'd be on your own for the second vaccination. And so that then would leave a number of our staff out there, trying to navigate what we've heard, from a lot of people is a pretty clunky system and going through the state. And so we've also, Matt Johnson and Sharon Pitts and really the team that did such a great job with the vaccination clinics that we had the other day are working with Long-Term Pharmacy, who is a pharmacy we use regularly, to try to do a clinic through them where they would come administer the first and second doses of vaccine once we're done with Walgreens completely. So we will have clarification for that by the end of next week. We anticipate having that and be able to give some options to people. So if someone did receive that first vaccination through Walgreens next week, on the 12th, that's the Pfizer vaccination, where Long-Term Pharmacy is currently offering the Moderna vaccination. So we just, it's a continuous conversation and continuous, reviewing and making sure that we can offer everybody who's willing to get the vaccination and works for NuPath a chance to get that. And so
it's good to hear that you have those contingency plans, because it occurred to me that people are going to be we may be hiring new people that come in and that will need the vaccine. Would they start with an organization? So there's got to be more than just the two opportunities. So that makes sense that there's an ongoing opportunity for people to kind of pick up and get with it if they made the decision, which I hope people do, because this is it's for their own health and safety. If anything else, I mean, it's fully what it's for, but it's the more we can get people vaccinated, the easier it's going to be for us to think about how we construct our, our business model, around, not having to worry about people having to quarantine and stuff like that. Well, we don't know exactly all of that, but and when we started talking about this many weeks ago, Dan, you remember me saying I wanted to figure out a way to kind of celebrate the vaccine and celebrate the staff that had received the vaccine. So we don't have all the details quite worked out, but we're going to be doing a raffle. You want to tell people what that's going to look like?
Sure. So and I'll give you credit. I know, right early on in the process of us being able to sign in with Walgreens and do the vaccination, you wanted to do some type of, I don't know, let's say thank you or just raffle a surprise for people who have signed up for the vaccination. And so we put together a few ideas, and you and I talked about some of those, and I know some other people weighed in on some other ideas. And so we're going to have a series of raffles with a grand prize raffle happening once we're able to once we finish all the vaccination clinics we're going to have. And so I don't know if you want me to announce the grand prize or.
Well, I think we're gonna. So I think starting next Thursday, we're gonna enter every staff person's name who has had both vaccines, right?
Yeah.
Into, I don't know, I guess it would be a bag or something. We'll figure out some way. I'll draw a name, and we'll be giving away little gifts. Like I'm thinking mostly gift certificates because that's what people probably want, right? Like Amazon, stuff like that. And then on June 3rd is sort of the target date, but people, if they're interested, look for something written on this. It should be coming out soon. And that would be the grand prize drawing. So that would be everybody has a chance of that. And what is that going to be, Dan? For
when
these people that have been, what is it going to be for these people that have invested in their health?
So on June 3rd, the grand prize would be, and again, every there'll be some build up to those with, like you said, gift certificates and raffles. But on June 3rd, the grand prize raffle, a person would receive a free year of health insurance through NuPath paid. So I think that
free
is
year of health insurance.
A free year of health insurance, which if you're have a family plan, it adds up to quite a bit of money, and I think that's very exciting and very, I think people will be very well received. That opportunity to be entered into that.
That's a significant amount of money in a paycheck if you're having biweekly withdrawal. Now I've got to say that my good friend, Dr. Kathy Jordan of Seven Hills,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if it was her idea, but Seven Hills is doing something similar, aren't they? You told me regarding the health insurance. And I thought, in case Kathy sees this or somebody tells her, I thought it was such a brilliant idea that I thought, why should we be doing the same thing? So we also are going to raffle off because we're saying it's a raffle, but I'm calling it a celebration. But maybe it'll be culminating with maybe we can do like I don't know, could we have a tent and like have some hamburgers and.
Well, you alluded to the schedules that we're working on right now. I can guarantee you that there is a number of exciting opportunities and enrichment activities that we're going to be offering. We have a target date of April 1st to start offering them, but we'll get the schedule up before that. And really just having people, everyone's going to be at their own pace. So for people that are attending the day programs right now, I think it's a great opportunity for them to just have a celebration of a different type of day. For those who are thinking about returning or want to ease into returning to program, it would just be a great opportunity for them to come visit, have some have a cookout and other activities that we've talked about. And so So I mean, everyone's pretty excited about it. I think the spring, naturally, longer days, warmer weather, seeing the tent being put up. I think people are starting to realize that hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Because who would have thought that last March 13th we'd be talking about this? Here we are, almost at the beginning of March of 21. So I think that's just I think that's just great, and we'll just try to work with each individual family and individual who wants to come back and try to help them through that transition back. So,
and I only have. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the response that we've had over the last week and a half from families contact us and reaching out, and residential homes of other agencies reaching out to us has been tremendous, and people are pretty amped up to return to programs. So,
so we really need to be wrapping up. I have a million other questions I probably could ask you, but in the last couple of minutes that we have, I just feel the need to say once again that there are so many heroes in this organization, and people who have sacrificed, who have gone the extra mile, who have worked in uncomfortable or different or new environments and situations. This past year has stretched so many people in sometimes some very uncomfortable ways, and I think about, you know, your team, the operations. These are the frontline people that implement and execute our mission every single day for the families that we serve and their children. I don't know of a way to say thank you large enough or big enough or loud enough um, to express just how grateful I am. And I know NuPath's board is, and I'm sure most of the families that we've been able to not only keep it all together, but do it in a way that that has provided some good growth opportunities for people. But so I would say thank you to you, Dan, and your team. You know, there's so many amazing contributions that have happened, and I just want to say it again from the depths of my heart how very grateful and how proud I am of how people have helped us get through this terrible year.
Well, the gratitude that we feel for staff and what staff have done and gone above and beyond, changing their life schedules to accommodate different schedules, to work in different locations than they're not familiar with. Residential managers, making themselves more accessible than ever to the residential programs as we get through this, and certainly times of quarantining and times of dealing with positive cases to the COVID center that we originally opened way back when. People have just been tremendous, and really the support that families have sent in or passed on to staff and to both of us has been tremendous. And I think the conversations that we've heard recently from family members, them just sharing their appreciation and their thanks to staff and helping them work through this has just been great feedback from them, and I think the staff really appreciate it. And you started out by showing some pictures of some of the individuals we lost to COVID and just lost in general over this past year, and no one can do the job that the staff do and the teams do directly with the individuals and not build such a good rapport and good relationship with the individuals. So I know they appreciate keeping them in your memories and everyone's memories and forethought. So,
well, Dan, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for being on NuPath Live today. We'll see you again sometime soon, okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Everyone take care. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Dan. Bye-bye. All right, guys. That's it. A wrap for another NuPath Live. You guys are so great. Thank you. Thank you so much for keeping NuPath moving, doing what we do best, and it's about to get fantastic. We're gonna bounce back from this with a bang, back to better. Okay, we got this. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.